And hello, Savannah. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. It is Wednesday, and you are listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings Community Radio with Global Soul. And it is quite a rainy Wednesday afternoon out there. Ugh. Not really good weather, and it's a little bit chilly. Don't like it so much. So I'm always glad when I'm on the radio on a day like today. This is the perfect time to talk about real estate. Yay! Glad you guys are all here with me. Today is going to be a little bit of a variety show. I don't really have enough for a whole topic to speak of the entire hour that I have. And by the way, you have me all the way until 1 o'clock today. And on my show, of course, we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing, and anything and everything in between. I am a local real estate investor right here in Savannah. We're broadcasting live today from downtown Troop Square. And I am also a vacation rental host. And we're a little bit in a slow period of the year because it's kind of the off season. The beaches are a little bit empty. We were on Tybee out there yesterday, and the parking lots were empty and everything's pretty much closed. We tried to get some drinks at the North Beach Bar and Grill. That was closed. That was in the middle of the day. So we're a little bit a sleepy beach town here out there on Tybee right now. So I kind of had a couple of shows. The last two shows I was talking to you about my experiences in Mexico, and also a little bit about the laws there and prices of how much it costs to basically live there as an expat, and any kind of additional information that people have asked me. I have posted some of those shows already on my YouTube channel if you want to listen to them there. Haven't posted them yet on the WRUU.org website, but stay tight. That's going to come still. And on today's show, we're going to talk a little bit more about Mexico. I don't have a whole lot more information about it. But mostly I want to actually kind of just get back into answering a couple of your questions from my YouTube channel. I've kind of neglected my YouTube channel in the last 2 months, so I have a lot of questions that have accumulated there. And also I want to talk to you a little bit about my current project, which I am working with a realtor, a broker that I've met out there in Mexico on a challenge, basically. And what it is, I'm going to tell you all about that in one of the next segments. But before we get to all of that, let's play a little bit of music. This one is called To Tomorrow by Gold Kimono. Enjoy. Thank you for staying with me here for Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. And you're listening to WRUULP on this rainy Wednesday afternoon. Thank you for being with me. And on my show, we talk about anything and everything related to real estate investing. I'm really glad that you're here. We have a couple of announcements, a couple of different pieces of information I want to share. Nothing too exciting, where it's kind of like a dreamy, sleepy day today for everybody, I guess. I slept in a little bit myself. And the biggest thing that I'm working on right now, and this is something that you may want to check out, is actually I've met a broker and realtor out in Mexico when I was there the last month. And he is working on basically establishing his presence in the knowledge marketing business, the business that I've been in for about 5-6 years. And he has been recruiting basically guest speakers for his Mega Momentum Challenge. It's a handful of a word, basically. But what it is he basically just tries to educate his realtors. He basically builds real estate teams, real estate agents, and real estate brokerages, basically. And he tries to educate them on different kinds of topics, different kinds of niches, different kinds of business opportunities, how to gain visibility, how to grow their business. And his goal is basically to make everybody that works in his brokerage and basically have them have a 6-figure income. at some point in their life anyways. And for that, he set up a challenge, basically. It's a daily guest speaker broadcast, basically, from recorded guest speakers, basically, that are teaching about their different kind of niche or business model or ways of how to do business. And you can sign up for that, actually. It's completely free. It doesn't cost anything. I will include the link in my YouTube channel on this video and some additional information. It starts on February 1st. And I will be participating as well. I'm actually a guest speaker, and that was the project that I'm about to mention. But I want to know what the other speakers are actually talking about. And so, and even though I'm not a real estate agent, I am in the real estate business. So anything and everything I can learn, absolutely, I want to get my hands on, especially if it's free. And there's no obligation to buy anything or anything like that in the future. So I will invite you to do the same if you want, if you're interested, if you want more information, basically. And so what I've been doing in the last week, I've actually recorded my little workshop. My little workshop, of course, is on tax sale foreclosure investing. That's kind of what I do. That's my specialty, my little niche, my micro niche is how he called it. But I think it's actually kind of a little bit of a bigger project and a bigger type of niche. It's not that small. There's a lot of things you can do with tax sale foreclosures. So I'm really excited to share that. Of course, you can also listen to my workshop for free there. I don't know which day I'm going to be on, but it's a 30-day challenge. So it's going to go through all of February. And being that February is less than 30 days, I'm guessing a couple of days into March as well. And you can sign up for that. So I'll send that link out. I will probably post it. I think it's Mega Millions. Actually, let me look it up and I'll mention it to you in the next segment here, so you can write it down or dot it down on your paper there if you're listening on the radio. And I'm kind of excited about it. So there is going to be also like a promotional video on my YouTube channel about it. So that shows myself and, of course, Dustin Pritchard, who is actually running the show there. And we have a little bit of an interview that we did as well, and to promote this challenge, obviously. And you can listen to that, of course, for free as well for information, if you're interested. So so new things coming up, new year. We're learning new things. I'm always a proponent of learning as much as possible. And your education, of course, never ends. Even if you've been to college, you've been to trade or tech school, or any education you've had, you can always have more. It's one of those things you can never have enough of. That's my motto, anyways, for my life. So let me look up the address, and I'll hand that to you here in a moment after one more break song. And after that, we're going to talk about the upcoming auctions for the next couple of weeks that I'm working on as well. So stay on, don't go anywhere, and enjoy the music. And thank you for staying with me here for Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. Thank you for tuning in on this rainy Wednesday afternoon. Usually what we do in the show, we talk a little bit, we play some music. Sometimes I have guests here. Today, it is all me by my lonesome here in this lonely studio. So I'm glad that you're listening. You're my company out there, dear Savannah. And on today's show, we're going to talk a little bit more about this. I just mentioned my friend Dustin Pritchard's challenge, his boot camp, basically. And I pulled it up a little bit so you can actually look it up for yourself if you're interested. It's actually at www.megamomentumchallenge.com. That's a handful. And over there, I guess he's talking that he's doing morning blast-off calls, 30 days of action-packed assignments, and keynote speakers. I am one of the speakers. That's what I'm mentioning this to you. And community and breakout sessions and things like that. So it's just something, if you're a real estate agent in the area, something to be aware of. I don't think there's any cost or anything. If you're interested and you want more information about what he does. I actually met him at a bar in Mexico, believe it or not, and he was complaining because my business partner was smoking. And so that's how we got into conversation, and we realized very quickly, we're both in real estate. So now our discussion has veered off to something I can talk for hours about. So this was very good and very good exchange. And who knows, maybe it was destiny. You can always meet people at random places and learn new things. And that's the beauty of being alive and living your life every day to the best possible. So that's the website there, www.megamomentumchallenge.com if you're interested. Not sure which day I will be the guest speaker, but I'm in there somewhere apparently, so that's good. Let's talk a little bit about upcoming tax sales, because that was my next topic here before the bottom of the hour when we'll play a couple of announcements. We haven't had any tax sales actually here in Chatham County, and I've been watching the website. I've been kind of looking to see, but we haven't had anything since November. So we're into the new year. We're not going to have a sale again in February. It's a little bit unusual to take such a long break, but I'm sure it's going to catch up. The thing is with Chatham County, if this is something you want to get into here, is that even though there might not be a county sale, at Chatham County itself, there might be a city tax sale. So that's something completely different and a different website that you can look up. If you're interested in that, the best place to ask would be the City of Savannah Department of Revenue, especially the Property Tax Revenue Department. And you may have to call around a little bit. Thankfully, here in the City of Savannah, we have basically a number that we can call to get all the city services. I believe it's 311 or so. And you can basically just ask to see where the department is for the property taxes and find somebody, kind of call your way through to all these departments. And what else? So what am I doing instead? So there is actually this week opened a very big sale online for Arizona. As you know, I work in several states, Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, but also a couple of the western states like California, Nevada, and Arizona are my 3 states that I work on. And right now is the yearly sale for Arizona that's happening right now. And specifically, I am focusing on Maricopa County. And that's the county that I've been actually pounding very heavily. So I will be in the books, or basically on the internet all night tonight looking at properties. The registration process is quite easy. You basically just go online, register, and all the bidding happens, of course, online. Arizona is I believe, a bid down the interest state. So you will have a set amount that you can bid on that's already set for each property that is out there advertised. The outstanding taxes is the bidding price that's not changing. But what you're actually doing is you are bidding on the interest that you're willing to accept. So whoever bids the low interest rate is the person that's going to get the property. A lot of people that actually are out to get property, and remember, I did speak to you in previous videos and previous shows about different strategies about how to set up your bidding in order to what you actually want, if you want to actually get properties, if you want to actually get income. So if you are out to actually obtain properties, your goal is to bid as low as possible, even 0%, because if there's several bidders that bid 0%, the bid down the interest auction becomes a random selection auction, which means that you might have an equal chance with everybody else that bids 0%. It's a little bit complicated, I know, on the radio, maybe a little bit hard to follow, but basically, just as a overall, there's different kind of bidding strategies for tax sale foreclosures. One of them are, of course, the upbid on the price. One of them is, of course, the downbid on the interest. So basically, whoever gets the lowest interest is the one that bids the auction. Then there is, of course, the lottery auctions. I spoke about those before, where there is no a set interest and a set price, but you put in your name in the hat, and if your name gets drawn, then you have the first right of refusal to obtain that property. And there's all kinds of hybrid property auctions in between, where you get maybe a partial ownership of a property that you can bid on, and so on and so forth. all of this, of course, explained on my YouTube channel for free. You can watch for further information if you want. And there's lots of information about this on the interwebs out there as well. And every state has its own regulations and rules and laws. So this is interesting to me because it's my life project, basically my calling to research how it works everywhere and basically find myself and carve out a little niche of where it works, how, and maybe get a couple properties here and there. So that's kind of been my forte, and this is what I teach my students as well. So that being said, so we're working on Arizona. Also gonna try to go back to the Atlanta area. So I know a lot of you that are listening to my radio shows on my YouTube channel later on are actually students located in the Atlanta area. So listen up. We're going to be going to Rockdale County. That's one of the counties I'm looking at right now because I already have property there. As well as Newton County is another one I was looking at. Of course, the ones that I'm mostly familiar with, Houston County, Bibb County, Jones County there in the Macon area. Those are the three that I always look at. And so, this is what you basically do. If there are no tax or foreclosures in your area, you go a little bit further out and a little bit further out, and you make a list of where you go on vacation or maybe where you have properties already, and check out the areas and the auctions in those areas. There's plenty of stuff going on despite the pandemic. Not everything is canceled. A lot of things have moved online, which is beneficial for people that don't want to travel or maybe don't have the funds or the capital to travel to auctions all over the country. So since it's online, it's accessible to just about everyone. And I always believe now's the time to get educated when you're sitting and it's raining, sitting at home, you don't have a lot to do and it's raining and it's a little bit dreary. It's time to make some money. So that is my philosophy. So I am glad that you're here with me. You're listening, by the way, to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. At this point of the show, we're actually going to talk, we're going to play a couple of announcements here. And after that, another break song, and I'll talk to you a little bit more about real estate. Maybe I'll answer some questions. Maybe I'll have some more information about Mexico. And anything and everything in between. So stay on. Don't go anywhere. You're listening to Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer.
This is a message from the Georgia State Department of Public Health. There is a State of Georgia hotline people can call with questions or if they think they may have been exposed to the COVID-19 virus. It is 1-844-442-2681. If you believe you're experiencing symptoms of COVID-19 or have been exposed to the novel coronavirus, please contact your primary care doctor, an urgent care clinic, or your local federally qualified healthcare center. Please do not show up at an emergency room or healthcare facility unannounced. More information can be found at dph.georgia.gov.
What does it mean when we say that WRUU is a community radio station? It doesn't just mean that we invite the community to create programming. And it doesn't just mean that we are a voice for the community. It also means that we are counting on the community to keep us going. And you are the community. Almost all of our modest budget comes from small annual or monthly donations from listeners like you. You get to enjoy our community-focused programming because many others have stepped forward to do their part. Now do your part by joining our community of listener donors. Go to WRUU.org right now and make a one-time or monthly donation. And thank you for supporting Savannah's community radio station, 107.5 FM.
Wilderness Southeast offers a variety of programs each month, including guided trips with naturalists. The organization's goal is to develop appreciation, understanding, stewardship, and enjoyment of the natural world. More information is available by calling 912-236-8115.
Groovy. That was Gold Kimono again. Does It Move You is the name of that song. Till I figure out my online announcement thing here, I'm going to just tell you what the songs are. Thank you for tuning into Real Estate Real Talk with Julia M. Spencer. And on this Wednesday afternoon is a perfect day to stay at home and listen to the radio. And I'm glad that you're here. Our station here is ran by about 70 volunteers. We're all volunteers here. We don't get paid for our services here. So this is our passion project and everybody's passion project. We have a lot of different varieties of music or talk shows. And we do this because we love what we do. We are radio people at heart, and we love to share our passion and spunk. So if you're inclined to contribute to our cause, of course, on our website, wruu.org, there is a link. If you want to donate, we will be eternally grateful to you. And on this show right here, of course, today, welcome. We are talking about real estate investing. I don't have a lot else going on right now. Obviously, it's a little bit of a dreamy season, a little bit of a jewelry season, and a little bit of overcast season. A little bit sleepy, the off season here in Savannah. I know it's going to hit us again no matter what. And despite the fact I do believe St. Patrick's Day's parade is canceled again, I'm not sure. That's kind of what I heard. But it doesn't matter. We have a beach, so we will be busy. But I wanted to talk a little bit. I don't have a lot more information about Mexico. I do have a couple questions people have had about going to Mexico and whether it's changing. One thing I wanted to mention before I get into some questions is that I think the laws have changed about flying back into the United States, no matter where you're coming from. As I mentioned, I was there in August for a week, and I was there all of December, and part of January. And both times there was no entry requirements. I didn't have to have a COVID test to get into Mexico, and there was no quarantine required. It was recommended, but not required. Everybody, of course, is following guidelines on having masks and washing hands and social distancing. But returning back to the United States as a U.S. citizen, none of that was required neither. So I didn't have to do a COVID test coming back. None of my family did. And we didn't have to do a quarantine. It was recommended again, but it was not required. So since our work is mostly just from home anyways, and we don't have a lot of social interaction with people as a family in any case, and schools are not in session right now in person anyways, and that was not an issue anyways. Quarantine or no quarantine, we're quarantined anyways. So that is about to change, however, from what I heard from people that are still in Mexico. Other expats, other American citizens and Canadian citizens actually said that if you wanted to travel to the United States from any other country, even the ones that are not on the restricted list, starting January 26th, which I believe was yesterday, that you do have to have a negative COVID test within the last 72 hours. And unless you can prove that you've had COVID in the last 3 months. That's what I understood. Again, the information is a little bit sketchy, and everybody kind of has different information, but I will have to go back to Mexico again in about a month or two. So I'll have better information that's actually real firsthand experience information. I'll share that with you. And that being said, that was my little tidbit on Mexico. I do want to talk a little bit about a couple of questions I've had on my YouTube channel, since I'm just horribly behind on everything. But of course, when you go out of the country for that long, when you come back, it just hits you with a vengeance. And I'm just really glad for my business partner, Daniel, who, by the way, is listening with my son, for keeping me in line in any case. And thank you for my coffee this morning. I needed it. Thank you. So let's talk a little bit about some of the questions that I've had. I have about 19 minutes, so maybe I'll get to maybe 2 or 3. First off, I had a question by Lucas Thomas on my YouTube channel, and he was a little bit upset with me, I guess, on my YouTube channel, that I recorded a video of one of the tax sale foreclosure houses that I bought in the past, where the owners had actually stepped out of the house in the background and were watching me as I was filming myself in front of their house making the video. And this video is actually called Real Estate Property I Bought for $2,200 worth $80,000. This video, by the way, it's on my YouTube channel. It's kind of old, actually. It's about 6 years old or so. It's not a recent video. And he basically says I must have been very ruthless to make that video with them in the background and put it on my YouTube channel. But he did say that that was good information, great video. Here's a little bit of background about this story. The property I bought was indeed bought for about $2,200. It was right here in Savannah, actually. It was on the other side of Truman Parkway and I'm not sure everybody that's in Savannah is going to just like crinkle their hair right now because you know the areas of Savannah way better than I do, even though I've lived here for 10 years. But it's basically if you're looking from like where Whole Foods is right now, on the other side of Truman Parkway, those neighborhoods, that's where this property was. And I didn't post this video initially. It took me a long time to post this video because the property was actually redeemed, I believe, before I posted the video. So when I made this video, of course, we were still in the redemption period where the original owner had a chance to buy it back from me. But they bought it back from me on the very last day, and I had a long conversation with the owner. She really just wanted to sell the property to me. At the time, I didn't have a lot of money to give to her. So this was, we made friends basically, and I did ask permission to post the video. So being ruthless, yes, it may come across that way, but I do verify and make sure I don't offend anybody with any of my videos. Of course, being out there in the public eye on YouTube, you're going to offend somebody. That's a lesson that I've learned very early on. And it's not always about you. People have their own agendas of why they're angry at you. That's just what's going to happen. But the video is out there. And yes, I did stand in front of this property I bought at a tax sale foreclosures. And the owners did come out in the background. You can see them kind of far away. You can't recognize people or anything like that. But yeah, that video is out there. That's a little bit of a comment on that video. What else? There's another question. So I did post a video where I got a real estate foreclosure list, and I'm standing in front of the Chatham County Tax Commissioner's office right here downtown Savannah. This is also an older video, about 4 or 5 years old or so. And the question was by Joel Gina Davis, and he's asking that is it possible to find a OTC list in North Carolina, and if so, where? I tried calling them, and they had no idea what I was talking about. Thanks for your help. So yes, it is possible to get an OTC list in North Carolina, and what that is, by the way, is an over-the-counter list. It's basically a list of properties that have already gone to auction and were not purchased by anybody, or else somebody bid on them and didn't pay for them. So they go back to this real estate owned pool that is owned by the county. It's basically county real estate that the county doesn't really know what to do with. It just sits there until something else happens. And that something else might be, the property might be scheduled for another auction, or something, I don't know, something might happen that they maybe put it to public use or something, if it's maybe some community property that the county is just going to use for a community project, for example. So those properties sit on this list until somebody makes an offer, basically. You don't have to wait for an auction. You're not in competition with anybody. You basically make your best offer, and more times than not, the counties will accept it because, of course, they want to reduce the list. We don't have this here in Georgia because Georgia does not have a law where properties can be purchased over the counter. We do have in rem sales. These are sales that are kind of similar to tax sale foreclosure sales, but they're basically properties that have remained after sales. But again, the process is a little bit different. It has to go in front of a judge. He has to approve the sale, and then there's going to be another auction. The redemption period is much shorter. There's also a video about this on my YouTube channel. But North Carolina, of course, it works a little bit different. South Carolina as well. He's talking about North Carolina. So again, the laws are different in those two states. But where would you find a list like that? The best place, of course, is if you're looking for tax sale foreclosures, you would be looking at the tax commissioner's or tax assessor's office, whoever is the office, the government office that assesses properties and collects on the property. Sometimes it's the same office, sometimes they're two separate offices. So that's where you would ask. And Joel here is pointing out a very common problem with all of this. He says, I tried calling them and they had no idea what I was talking about. That's pretty much what you're going to run into as a tax sale investor or as a real estate investor, or even sometimes as a general business person. You will be doing a lot of calling around. Thank goodness I don't do a lot of calling around anymore. And thankfully. But if you want to get to the bottom of things, if you want to get a real estate list, even if you want to get one from a bank, for example, because mortgages also have lists of real estate owned where properties have defaulted, the property owners have defaulted on mortgages and the properties have gone to auction, and maybe the owner was upside down in their mortgage where the value of the property has decreased below what the amount is that's owed on the property, so nobody bid on the property at an auction, for example. And so they have these lists, these real estate owned lists, REO lists. Every bank that gives mortgages has lists like that. But trying to find the right person that can give you that list might take you a couple of days and many hours of phone calling and trying to find the right person on the phone that can give you that list. So that is a common problem, and that is part of the business. That's part of doing business, is being on the phone and calling around and trying to find the right person. This is why I always advocate to all my students is to pick a specific area that you want to be proficient in, where you want to work, and basically get into that area and work it really hard and know everything, know all the officials in the government offices and the seats, know who to call when you have a problem, when you have a question, and basically have their direct number. And you can basically call them 24/7 on their cell phone versus their office phone to get some sort of issue resolved. I'm not advocating everybody should be available 24/7, but maybe you understand kind of what I mean, to be on a first name basis with these people in order to get your agenda pushed through before anybody else's. So, yes, and that is a very good question there by Joel Gina Davis. And I think we have one more, we have a couple more minutes left here for one more question. And wanted to get to that real quick. But after this show, we are actually have another show. It's called Mother Beat. It's hosted by Ben, and it's African music with African roots. It's some really neat stuff. If you've never heard it, I would definitely recommend that you stay on and listen to it. And of course, if that's not your thing, we have a schedule online, wruu.org, where all of our shows, all of our talk shows, and all of our music shows actually are listed. So if that's not something that you're interested in, we have opera, we have hard rock, we have metal, just anything and everything that you might possibly be interested in. We have a show for that, including the talk shows. We have healthcare, we have politics, we have local government, we have real estate. I believe there's even an architecture show, even how to train your dog, all kinds of things. So we're very versatile. We have a wide reach here in the local community. So I encourage you to check out our schedule. And let's get to one more question. I'm going to play you one more song after that. And that'll be the end of my hour, unfortunately. You'll hear from me again next week. So let's talk a little bit about a question I had on another one of my videos. And it's basically somebody was asking me in Georgia, and I'm going to read this. This is by a lady called Denik. She posted this question about 2 months ago. Hello, Julia. Hypothetically speaking, if I was to purchase a tax lien in Georgia and choose to have an attorney deal with notices, etc. at the lien end, when do I need to hire them? Immediately or towards the end of the lien? Thanks. This is a really good question. I'm going to answer it right here. If you're in Georgia and you buy a tax lien, you really shouldn't, and you really can't theoretically do anything until the end of the redemption period. And why do I say that? Basically, it's because in the state statutes of Georgia for tax sale foreclosures, if you read them very closely, it says that you are not allowed, as a tax sale foreclosure investor, to perform any action during the redemption period. And the redemption period in Georgia, of course, is 1 year and 1 day. So you can't go to the property, you can't take possession, you shouldn't advertise it, you can't contact the original owners, and you really shouldn't hire an attorney, even though, that's kind of like on your own plate, whether you have one or not, standing by. Nobody can forbid you to hire somebody if you wanted that. But I actually posted a video about this too on YouTube, because what I did one time, I kind of was a little bit too quick with the gun, and I had hired an attorney. Actually, attorney was already working for me, but I had mentioned to him that one of my properties was about to, the expiration was coming near of the redemption period, and he needed to prepare to bar the redemption rights, that step that you do right after the 1 year and 1 day is up. And he was already working on some paperwork, and then, of course, the original owners came on the very last day and redeemed the property, which kind of resulted in the fact that I first off had alerted my attorney a little bit too quickly to do work, and he had actually already prepared some of the paperwork, which he then subsequently asked me to pay for. We eventually negotiated that I didn't have to pay for it, because obviously we didn't do that particular legal action, but it was just a lot of hassle. So I learned very quickly from that I'm not going to do anything until the year and 1 day is up. I'll have somebody on standby, but ask them very specifically not to do anything until the year and 1 day is up. So the answer to this question by Denik is the attorney can't do anything for a year and 1 day, so let's not even hire them. If you don't have anybody hired, don't worry about it until the 1 year, 1 day is up. If you already have somebody that's working for you, you can, of course, always alert them and give them kind of like a heads up, but tell them not to do anything about it, and certainly not charge you for anything until the 1 year and 1 day is up. So that is my very last question. I hope that answers it to Denik there. And we have about 5 more minutes left here in my show. I'm going to play you one last song, and I hope you can join me again next week on Wednesday, right around this time. It is at about 12:06 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My show is on WRUU.org. Just log on. If you're logging on from online, of course, there's a little link there on the website on the bottom where you can listen live to all of our shows. And if you missed a show, it will be broadcast or published basically on my YouTube channel later on. Very easy to find, Julia M. Spencer. There's no cost. It's all just for information. And you can also listen to it on the WRUU.org website, where all my shows are posted as well on the Wednesday archive slot there. So I hope you have a great day and enjoy your Wednesday. You were listening to WRUULP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.
For your free guide to real estate investing, visit juliamspencer.com.